Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's an amazing day here in the Pirate Broadcast. And as always, bringing value and inspiration, motivation, and maybe a couple of ideas that you can use in your business. And today we have Dr. Amanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Happy Monday morning.
Happy Monday morning. And I want to, we were talking before the show, and as I tell people, sometimes the show before and after show is more fascinating than the show itself. Not really. However, don't go away. We have more. And we were talking about some of the things that podcasting, broadcasting, and just putting yourself out there brings to the table. And much like you do, you work on people's mindset around money, which for myself, I've always struggled with that, either being not able to recognize my value I bring to the table because it seems so easy to me, or not feeling confident enough to charge people what I need to charge to actually do the work. And so those are some of the things that I want to talk about today. But I want to talk about the backstory, about how you got into it, what was your origin story, and some of the things that prompted you to say, this has to get done and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So many good things there. And first I want to say, when I saw you, I loved your kindness is cool and smiles are free. Like, so good. When I was little, my brother called me Smiles too much. I always loved it. And then I've been called Smiles a lot, many times. It's just like, it's so true. Smiles are free. Masking, I dislike very much because I can't smile at everyone. But smiles raise the vibe all the time. So I just had to say that real quick.
Absolutely, positively.
Yeah.
It makes a difference in so many people's lives, and I encourage everyone to do it.
Yeah. Right? Yes.
Absolutely.
So wherever you are, smile right now. Yeah, it's funny. There's research to show, like, if you're sitting in a room by yourself and you just smile, the muscles in your face and chemical, the different changes your brain chemistry just by smiling. So really cool stuff.
It's proven.
Yeah.
It's science. My friend Red O'Loughlin in Houston, he's a speaker out there, and he talks about it a lot, and what happens in your body when you smile and laugh, and some of the things that go along with that. So
yeah. Total sidetrack real fast. Have you heard of laugh therapy?
Yeah. I actually had somebody on that was a laugh therapist, and
cool.
yoga, also a yoga laughing yoga.
Oh, that's a great mix. Yeah,
it's a great combination. I have to find out about this.
Yeah, definitely. That's the cool thing about having a podcast, right? Or a live interview show. I mean, my backstory, the wild thing is that I wouldn't be where I am without having run into podcasts. So for me, podcasts are like part of my heart and just changed my life. So my whole story of stepping into coaching and consulting is from when I was in grad school, and I was married for 15 years, and in some ways my childhood sweetheart. And we were really young when I got pregnant, and then we were married for 15 years, and I ended up leaving my marriage, having an affair. My next relationship wasn't working out. I was really challenged in relationship skills, and I didn't know how to leave without just blowing it up completely. And I then was facing homelessness, really, because where I live in Boulder, Colorado, is a pretty expensive place. And I was in grad school. I have 3 kids. My ex-husband lost his job, and he was, so here I am, like, no income. My income from grad school, very, very low. So I had free counseling, and my counselor was like, you got to go get food stamps. And I had so much shame around it. Went and got food stamps, finally subsidized housing, called me and said, we have a spot for you. And I was like, oh, phew, I'm not going to be homeless. But I was really distraught and freaked out. And I was on the floor crying one night. And I kind of had this I don't know if in the moment I would have said, oh, I'm having an epiphany, but I had an epiphany. And it was like, I'm the center of these problems, and I got to do something different about my relationships and my money.
Wow.
And I just thought, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Like, I'm tired of this reality. And I turned to podcasts because they were free. And I didn't have money to go to workshops. And at the time, I didn't even really know about that world of personal growth and development in that way. And, I was in academia. And so I started listening to podcasts, and all the podcasts that I was listening to were done by coaches. I was like, this is interesting. And I just got really into it. And it's planted the seed in my mind, like, maybe I could be a coach, but it was just kind of in the background. And I was listening everywhere I went, washing the dishes, taking my kids to school, walking between my classes, every possible chance I could get. And it started to work. And then one of the coaches that was doing the podcast that I was listening to was running a workshop in Boulder. And I was like, that's serendipitous. I got to get there somehow. And at this event, I worked my way in. I did work study. I sold furniture. Like I was like, I got to be at this workshop. And it was $5,500. And I definitely did not have $5,500 at the time. And he said, you can do some work study. I won't give it to you for free. And I worked my way in. And then in that workshop, I realized that I didn't have money and wealth building on my value system anywhere. And then that led me to Dr. John DeMartini, which just opened up, a world of new opportunity. And after I went to DeMartini's breakthrough experience, I was like, I'm going to be a coach. And so I just took the leap. I started going for it. And here I am now. And because of those moments, I felt like I want to share a podcast with the world and just share my journey with people, because the podcast episodes that I listened to were so transformative for me.
I want to untangle a few nuggets that you mentioned there that we could go into, because being at your most vulnerable point, the conclusion that you arrived at is, I have to be responsible for this. I have to take responsibility, and I have to do something in a positive way that moves me forward. And I think there's so many opportunities for us to actually take responsibility. And even if we don't know the right direction, we have to think about anything is better than nothing, because staying in the place that you are at that moment is devastating and counterproductive. So congratulations for you of seeing that epiphany and taking action and moving forward with that. And I also want to have you kind of expand on the power of taking action and how that moved you to your authority of managing and inspiring other people to manage their money, because this is so important for small business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, speakers, people that are doing online work right now, which is so amazing. And it's such an opportunity. But a lot of people miss the step of, I think you called it wealth building. Mm-hmm. So kind of expand on that a little bit, Dr. Amanda.
Yeah. So much there. I mean, to me, I do money, mindset, marketing, and manifestation. And I didn't run into manifestation until a couple years in, and I started to go, part of the thing I think people struggle with is they go, I have this huge heart to build a business, but they forget all of the background action that needs to be taken in terms of being a business owner, taking action on how to build your wealth, understanding money. A lot of people will say to me when they come to work with me, I want this and I want that, and I'm doing this in the world, and I really care. And I go, how many books have you read on money? How much time have you spent looking and tracking and thinking about your status around money, your thoughts around money, where you want to go with money? And they're like, and most people say not very much. They mostly just spend time in worry about money. And, when I poll entrepreneurs, they'll say they spend up to 70 to 90% of their day worried about money. And so that was why my company is NFA Money, because I'm going, we got to be serious about money. We got to take action. We got to be radically responsible and decide that we can build our wealth. Decision is a really powerful force, because whenever you decide something, you cut off all other options and you signal to the universe that you're serious. And then it gets you going into inspired action. And action is essential, because that's I think of it as your bargain with the universe, where you go, hey, I want this thing. I've decided. I'm telling you I'm doing it. And the way I'm showing you I'm doing it is by taking action in the direction. And then I'm going to trust that the doors of opportunity will open to me. And so that's what I did. And of course I made lots of fumbles. Like I had no clue what I was doing really in business. And when I say fumbles, I always learned from them. And I just kept going,
I call them experiences. The reality is, and this is what I think a lot of people that are naysayers about the manifestation part is you just can't sit on the couch surfing Netflix and think that, okay, if I think about this long enough, it's going to show up at my door like Prime, Amazon Prime. It's just going to, I want somebody to buy my stuff, so I'm going to stare at the phone a little bit. It doesn't work that way. It really has to be taking action, putting a plan in place, moving in that direction. And I think what you mentioned really is 70% of their time is spent on worrying about money. And you know what happens when you focus on something? More of it shows up.
Yeah.
So if you're focused on how broke you are, or how much you have, or how much shortage you are achieving that month, it's just going to continue to help manifest that whole concept. And it's proven time and time again for myself. And
exactly.
And the reality is okay, have some abundance, maybe tip somebody else a little bit more and feel as if there's expansion going on and some of these things. And it's amazing when you start moving in that direction, things start showing up. And I can't explain it. I'm not going to try. However, that's what's worked for me. And I've never been motivated by money. And I say that in a way that I've always wanted to help people, and money's been kind of a limiting factor in some of my decisions, and which I don't know. I'm grateful for my experience, and I know I have more to deliver in the world. With the Pirate Syndicate, I'm producing shows for other people, and the experience you achieve with the Pirate broadcast is essentially what I'm delivering in the Pirate Syndicate. So I'm kind of testing my own, evaluating and delivering my own stuff, and the experience is proven out in the Pirate broadcast. And that's huge value. Time is our most precious commodity, right?
Yeah.
So if I could save somebody time and deliver results, that's huge value.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do I shift my focus or my mental attitude about being responsible, being expansive, being in control, and narrate my own future?
Yeah. So many things in what you just shared. One thing I want to say is start where you're at. Whoever's watching or listening, like start where you're at and don't think you're going to go from the easiest example is going like you're out of shape and you've never worked out to going, I'm going to run a marathon next week. Yeah. Yes, your brain knows you're full of crap. So you got to start small. You got to go, oh, okay, well, I'm committed to walking around the block 5 days this week. Like start there. So similar with money, you just start with where you're at. When I started, I decided, okay, I'm going to become really responsible with my money. And so I started by downloading an app on my phone and tracking every penny I spent. Because what you focus on expands, and you're signaling again to the universe, like I'm responsible with my money. And when you're responsible with something, what you appreciates and more wants to come your way. And so that's an action you can take that's very simple and very transformative. It'll give you so much insight and perspective to tracking what comes in and what goes out. And sometimes what's really cool is you track what comes in and you go like, whoa, I'm actually way better at bringing in money than I thought. But maybe I'm not as responsible with the way I spend it, or am I saving any? Am I investing any? And I just started, I made money making, you said something that you're not very motivated by money. And I, it caused me to think for a second, like, am I motivated by money? And I think, heck yeah, I'm inspired to play in the money game, because to me, it just means bigger impact.
It is a game.
Right? Like,
it is a game.
If you take it that way, it changes everything. But when you're in survival mode and you're freaked out about how you're going to feed your kids, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, money's a game. It is survival threat. Like I felt worried all the time about money. I mean, I thought about money hundreds of times a day. So it really had to start with my mind around money and thinking like, okay, am I safe? Am I okay? the future projection of all the worry I have about money isn't real because I have a home. I have, here I am, I have access to food stamps. I do have income. And I just started shifting really small. I mean, I started putting $20 a month in what I call a money magnet account because I wanted my money to grow and be magnetic instead of creating an emergency account, because words matter and what you focus on expands. So if you create an emergency account, then you're basically saving up for an emergency to happen.
Yeah.
And I save up for a money magnet account. I've literally never taken money out of it. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's really cool.
That is awesome. One of the things you mentioned, and this is a fascinating subject, and I know we could talk much longer on this topic. And I think it's really important for us to think about the impact that just small changes make, because I always tell people life is like an instrument. You have to practice at it.
Yeah.
And even though we may not make the best decisions and some of the outcomes may not necessarily serve us, I think the bigger impact and the more important piece of the puzzle is that we can change the way our outcome ends up based on our activities, the way we're thinking about it, and the way we're taking action on it. And I think that's really, and money's one piece of the puzzle. Life and relationships, that's another piece of the puzzle. I think it's really the relationships, though. If money is the highest priority, I think there's some lack that's taking place. Or if recreation is the only thing that's the priority, and I think that balance has to be in place as well. Would you kind of expand, and am my thought process scarred or misused or out of alignment?
What I think of when you say that is, going from either or to both and, like, to me, you have a relationship with money, and your money is going to inflect upon your relationships, and your relationships are going to inflect upon your money, and it's all rooted in you. Your outer world is an expression of your inner world. So richness in your outer world, in your relationships, in your hobbies, in your money has to do with you on the inside. So the reason I love doing money work is because it's a tangible expression of what's going on inside. So it's a really easy way for me to see people's limiting beliefs, their scarcity thinking, their thoughts about hard work versus easy work, their abundance mindset. Like, I can see a lot by the way someone talks and thinks about money. So it's because it's all interrelated. So I go, like, let's have richness in all these areas. Like, I want to have I'm dedicated and have incredible relationships. Now, it took me time to figure that one out. And then same thing with my money. Like, I want an abundance of ever flowing money that's growing so I can expand in success and love and make a huge impact in the world. And it takes money to do that. And it's just an exchange of value. And so I always like to think when someone kind of like often when we have a scarcity mindset around money, we'll say, well, I care more about helping people. Right. Mm-hmm. And when I hear that, I go, why can't you have both? Help people and make a ton of money doing exactly what you love, make a bigger impact.
Well, if you make more money, you can help more people.
Exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be like, oh, you either help people or you make money. Do both.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I want to give a shout out to a few people in the room that have joined us. Russ Hedge, smiles are awesome. Smiles are free. Absolutely. Cameron, welcome to the party. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, Amanda and Russ. And Donna Dunn is in the house. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And from Spain, Jorge, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Pirates. Tracy, the awesome producer of the Pirate broadcast, and just an amazing individual. Kathy Spooner, good morning, Pirates. Kathy says, momentum and faith with lots of learning opportunities. Great inspiration this morning. Love that. Kate O'Hara, good morning. Good morning. Kathy Spooner says, switched over to YouTube, LinkedIn glitchy. That's good to know, Donna. Great info from you both. The one thing that I wanted to come back to is this idea that all of my needs are met, and I wake up with gratitude every day and work with intention. And the Pirate broadcast, it's coming up on 400 episodes dedicated to doing this. you started out in podcasting because it was free. And I know that it's brought some amazing conversations to the table for yourself. Can you kind of explain how that has helped build your business and what impact podcasting and some of these content creation opportunities have developed into?
Yeah, absolutely. My podcast, I went from food stamps to my first full-time year of business, 6 figures. And I attribute that to my podcast. And I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't hire anyone. I mean, I really didn't know. I just had a heart and an inspiration to serve and to share and to I was just like, the podcasting is amazing. It's free learning on the go for anyone who wants to plug in and take action in whatever direction you're teaching about. And I love to teach and I love to inspire. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. I didn't know the tactical parts of it, but I just went for it. And so I tell people, if you want to start a podcast, go for it. Literally, you could start. I'm going to do a workshop actually and say, start a podcast in 4 hours, because you can. You actually can start a podcast in 4 hours or less. It might not be super polished, but mine wasn't. And so, for anyone who's inspired to do a podcast, it opens doors of opportunity, because you're creating yourself as an expert. You're practicing public speaking. You are sharing your heart with the world. You're sharing your expertise with the world. You are attracting people your way who want to have these kinds of powerful, inspiring conversations. That's opening the door to new people and new opportunities. So what I would do is every episode I would release, what I ended up doing is doing a dual broadcast where I put it out on YouTube and then had the audio also and did my podcast from it, my podcast episode releases. And then I would just take content from those and put them on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. And so I just would repurpose the content, and just every time someone connects with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, I say, hey, thanks so much for connecting. If you like podcasts, you might like this. And my podcast is now called Max Potential Money. And so I lead them to my podcast. And so I've literally grown my podcast to being in over 55 countries. I think we're at over 30,000 downloads right now. And
that's awesome.
Just all organic traffic. And I've built my entire business. I've gotten so many opportunities to speak, and I've had joint ventures. I think what it does for my potential clients is that they get to listen to me and see me over time and build a relationship with me and understand how I think and how I operate. And then they just come to me. So it's this cool, reverse marketing. One of my mentors calls it reverse marketing, where it's like, I'm just attracting people my way through them being resonant with what I teach.
As my good friend Ronald Earl Wilshire would say, it's much easier to attract and engage than chase and convince.
Oh, yes. So much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah.
And I just love this story, because right now I have been saying this for years, and it continues to improve, that we are living in the most amazing time in history, and we have the abundance of information and education surrounding us. We have the technology that allows us to connect with others, and everyone has, what I believe, a voice, a gift, a message that they can share. And we only have to impact one person at a time in order to accomplish great things. And the reality is that you have something that is inspiring and forming new ideas in the universe every single day, every time you turn on the microphone and share this information. Because a lot of people, we get comfortable in our own little vacuum, in our own little world. And unless you're expanding and exploring new ideas, you're just, you're destined to stay where you are until you make the move to do something different. So thank you so much for sharing this information. I really love the idea that we can actually expand on this. And yours is a great story about, okay, I got started, I just kept going, and things started showing up in my world. For someone that hasn't started, is a little nervous about it, what advice would you share? What tips of words of wisdom would you share, Dr. Amanda?
Yeah. Do you mean specifically started a podcast or a business, or both? All of the above?
All of the above. Just some general ideas about, because we're all stuck about different things. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have limiting ideas about what we're capable of doing. And I think, if we really knew how much power and authority we could,
Yeah.
amplify, it would scare us all. So
yeah, so true. Russ,
just some ideas.
yeah, it makes my eyes want to just fill up with tears because you were talking about waking up every day grateful, and I feel the same way. Like I wake up every morning, and I'm like, I love what I do so much. Like, I mean, I almost didn't sleep last night because my brain was just so inspired. I've got these new projects going on. I'm just like, yes, I'm on fire. And I know what it feels like to go from waking up every morning being terrified. And I mean, I've been suicidally depressed in my history to like waking up every day inspired and alive and just going, my life keeps getting better and better and better and better. And what it took was, I mean, everyone just decide what you want and go for it all the way. Every day, every day, every day. And I talk a lot about like sowing and reaping, the law of sowing and reaping. And we go, you wouldn't plant a seed in the ground and stand over it and go the next day, why aren't you growing? What's wrong with you? And stamp on it and say, I give up. It takes time to cultivate a new business. It takes time to cultivate a following of an audience. But, what would inspire me is, at first I'd have 5 people download something and maybe get like 1 like on something. And it can be discouraging, but remember, if you're changing one person's thoughts that day, one person's lives, then I would start to get these emails from people or just comments from people say, oh my God, you're changing my life. And it would make me cry. I'd be like, yes. And I just keep going and I keep going. I was like, it's one of my quests to spread and expand love in the world. Like to me, love and raising consciousness is everything there is. I love to help people live in their zone of genius and feel that feeling of being alive. And so when I would get those messages, it would be, to this day, when I get those messages, I just like it means everything to me. I'm like, yes, awesome. That is why I do this. And so, if for anyone who's starting, just remember, you live this one life in this body, and you only get to be inspired and alive if you choose to be. You're the generator of that. It's not going to drop in your lap. No one else is going to, just hand you on a platter like, here's the greatest life ever. And, you're welcome. You've got to be the one who engages and decides to take action in that direction. And it gets better and better. And I'm telling you this because I've experienced it and I've helped people do it, where when you live in your zone of genius, you're a magnet for amazing things to happen, but you're only going to be doing that if you're taking action every day on the things you enjoy and sharing it with the world, because you're expanding it.
I love that. Jenny Gold says, I love what Amanda is speaking about. Absolutely. And Dr. Driss says, hi there. It will be great to see you on LoggyTalks.com. Is that something? Open access conference?
Don't know it, but I'll write it down. You too. Check
it out. And Donna Dunn says, yes, find your passion. You will find the joy. Now engage in it constantly.
Yes.
I'm just always amazed. I'm just so emphatic about this. And I really believe that we have so many things that we can accomplish as individuals to help the greater good, and just putting out positive energy and, a couple of smiles here, a little bit of kindness, a little laughter. It goes so far. So how do you like people to connect with you, Dr. Amanda?
They can find me everywhere with the handle at NFA Money, and I have a free masterclass. It's nfamoneymasterclass.com, and that teaches about competing commitments that are keeping you stuck. It's a really cool concept I came up with, just all the different people I've gotten to work with and things I've learned. And so those are the best ways, I would say. And of course, my podcast is Max Potential Money. So Max Potential Money, my handle at NFA Money, or the NFA Money Masterclass.
So pirates, connect, say, hey, I'm a pirate. Don't just say connect. Leave a comment there and let Amanda know that you're there for a reason and you have a connection on the inside. So it's lovely to see all of these things come together. Go out, find abundance, find out what really makes it matter. Help someone out, lift someone up, because there's people in front of you and there's people behind you, and we all got to practice this thing called life. So I just really appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Such a joy.
It's amazing. And it's what a great way to start the week, right?
Yes, thank you. I love it. You can interview me every Monday morning.
People would probably start watching too. I just love the idea that people drop notes, and I know that there's probably a few other people that are shy and never say anything at all. People pop up and they say, hey, I've been listening to your show for a while and I really enjoy it. And it's like, thank you. It's really humbling to do that. So it's awesome. So a great week ahead. Donna says, definitely, Russ, kindness and smiles will make you richer than you thought.
Yes.
Absolutely. Great week ahead. Well, as always, thank you so much for being here. And as Dr. Amanda said, follow the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all of the social things that help us share it with more people out there in the universe. And it's just amazing that we're here. We're doing great things. You have the capacity and the opportunity to change lives. And I just want to make sure that you have the tools you need and are necessary, just like Dr. Amanda. And thank you so much for being here, because kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And you enjoy your day. See ya. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.